What's up, everybody? DoomSFX. I am back today with the Make Noise semi-modular trio of the Zero Coast, the Strega, and the Zero Control. This trio lends itself very well to dreamy sounds, perfect to summon an elder god of destruction, an unknowable cosmic entity from beyond, something like Cthulhu.
Come forth, Cthulhu.
So, word of warning, I don't know what we're going to summon from the depths, and I also don't know that this won't make you go insane. But anyway, we've got what is essentially a blank canvas here. With this, you can get traditional synth sounds, you can get weird synth sounds. This is a little bit more of a Swiss Army knife box than the Strega, which is a fascinating time synthesis machine. And all it has to do with feedback going into this time circuit, this filter. Yes, it does have an interesting oscillator, but the sum is greater than the parts. And then we've got the Zero Control, which is a very interesting sequencer slash control module for triggering notes and all that. The first thing I'm going to do is patch the output of the Zero Coast to the input of the Strega. I can make it drone by taking this here and pushing it up, which is just sending a constant control voltage telling the gate to open on the Zero Coast. I am going to now tune the oscillator of the Strega and the Zero Coast. I want them slightly detuned from each other, so we have two oscillators in our voice. So I'm going to bring up the Zero Coast, and I'm going to activate the Strega. All right, there we go. So I'm happy with how those are tuned. But the next thing is I want this to be a playable voice. So I'm going to be using the Zero Control to play it. I'm going to patch the gate output of that to the gate input here for the contour control, which is going to trigger this envelope to let through that voice. Okay, now I am going to use the top row here, this output, to send pitch information to the volt per octave on the Zero Coast. And I'm using these awesome stackable cables because I'm going to be multing these signals. So now this top row is going to control the pitch of the Zero Coast. See? Just like that. All right, cool. So I am going to mult that pitch information to the volt per octave on the Strega. And I am also going to send the contour envelope that is letting this voice through to modulate the activation on the Strega. So what we've got now is a dual oscillator mono synth. So how are we going to summon our elder gods? Well, we've got to take advantage of the time circuit on the Strega. So I'm going to start blending that in so you can see how that changes the sound. I want to modulate the overtones on both of these voices. So the overtone on the Strega. Yeah, that's going to be good. I'm going to use the envelope generator on the Strega to create a slow LFO. And I'm going to put that to the overtone control and so you can hear that modulating overtones here. Now let's do that with sample and hold circuit here on the Zero Coast. This is outputting a random control voltage on each one of those taps. I'm going to put that to overtone. And I'm just going to hold this. So you can hear what that's doing. I'm also going to send that signal to our multiply. Okay. Okay, so that creates like an interesting random sequence there. All right, I want the attack to be slower. So that's without the effects. Now the effects are what's going to really make this go crazy. So let's blend that in. See how we're starting to summon our elder god? I want the pressure of the zero control. So depending on how hard I'm pressing the plate, you see that. This is showing me what that's sending out. I want that to open up the filter on the Strega. So now I'll patch this in here and I will raise this up. So if I lightly press it, all right, cool. So this is basically sending subharmonics, and it's normal to the time circuit. So as I increase this, you'll start to hear this time circuit move around in an interesting way. Cool. So I want decay to duck while the voice is playing. And then when I release, I want it to open up. So you get more feedback going through. So how I am going to do that is I'm going to trigger another envelope that we have available to us, the slope here. And I am going to mult out my gate. All right, so I got gate going here, and I'm going to send that to the trig of the slope as well. Now, if I send the slope out to control decay, and I push it to a negative value, and I push this up where I want it to be when I'm not holding the note. So now when I hold the note, it's going to push that knob this way, and then when I release it, it'll bounce back. Yeah, I'm going to send that signal to absorb too, and it's going to do the opposite. It'll open absorb up while I am pressing down, and then close it. I have two unused rows of CV output here, so I'm going to set one of these to send control voltage to the blend here. So I'm going to set the control that's handiest to me, this bottom row, and I am going to send that CV out to blend here. So with this fully down, we should hear this dry now. Yep, but if I turn this up, because this reflects the knob position of that. So this is 50-50 dry wet. So now as I'm playing, if I want to open it up, all right, so now I feel like I need to modulate the oscillators a bit more. Let's do some linear FM on this. Let's see what happens if we FM it with the sub-oscillator output here. That's crazy. It's a bit much for me. I'm going to send the triangle output instead. There we go. Let's see what happens if we send this dynamic CV output to modulate time. We do have this envelope follower, which is taking this audio signal and creating a control voltage that matches it and what it's doing. What if we send that to control the speed of this envelope that we're sending to modulate the overtones here? Oh, that's cool. So let's get some high notes down on the right side of the zero control, and all my low notes will be on the left side. All right, I think we're there, guys. So we are going to summon the Elder God now. To go one step further, I've slightly moved the pitch, the tonic on the Strega, and now I'm getting my Cthulhu calls. This is the sound of Cthulhu as he awakens. So by making some minor adjustments, once we have this all patched up, we can really change the sound. And now I'm just going to mess with the knobs some more. Do you feel like you just had your brain ripped apart by an unknowable cosmic horror deity like Cthulhu? Probably not. But still inspiring. This conjures up tons of awesome horror, fantasy, sci-fi imagery in my brain. And that's how I like to create music. I like to make sounds that inspire visions. I hope this gave you some inspiration on how to use these machines to create a very unique instrument. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. I'm going to make it regardless of if people are watching because I'm having a lot of fun. But I would appreciate a like and subscribe nonetheless. I don't want to just create in a vacuum, and that's why I'm putting this stuff out there. Onwards and upwards.